Some weeks just don't go the way that you envisioned, and this was definitely one of them. Had a very interesting week. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Table Talk. Hello and welcome to this week's Table Talk, and a big warm welcome to Model Kit Stuff. My name is Jason, and if you're one of my new subscribers over the last week or last month and you've not come across a Table Talk video before, then what we do in here is we talk about what's happened in the week that's just gone, what's coming up in the week ahead, one or two other things, what's been happening on the modelling desk, and I have a big announcement just in case you missed the live stream. Yeah, it's been a week of surprises this week. All sorts of things have happened that I sort of wasn't expecting, and some things that I was expecting didn't happen. So we'll talk about all of that right here. But first things first, we're going to kick off with what happened on the channel this week. And that, as always, starts with Monday. As you all know, my Monday slot is a very eclectic slot. You just don't know what's going to turn up. Well, I do, but you guys don't, unless, of course, you watch this video, and I tend to tell you, well, only 1 week. I'm currently on my Monday and Wednesday videos. I'm currently 4 weeks ahead. So that means I've got 4 weeks worth loaded up, ready to just automatically switch on when they hit 8 AM on a Monday or 8 AM on a Wednesday. They just appear and I don't have to do anything more with them. So I'm trying to keep that buffer. I'm a bit more hand to mouth with the build diaries because they take a lot more editing and a lot more effort to create the content, in fairness. So we kicked off with the Buccaneer book on Monday, and it's a cracking it's a book, a publication we'll call it. Really, really nice. I think it covered everything you ever want to know from a model builder's perspective about the Buccaneer. I mean, if you're actually interested in the aircraft, you want to go and read about its operations and its life, that's not the thing. But if you want to build the model and have a really immersive experience and understand the kits that came before it and how someone has built it and give you some ideas, then both the 172 and the 148 were covered in that. And a lot of people agree with me. It was a great little publication and really, really worth the money. And how often can you say that these days? For 8 or 9 quid, I think it's an absolute bargain. And again, lots of you agreed with me. So that's how we kicked off the week on the Monday with the Buccaneer How to Build Guide, which it's so much more than that. They need to retitle it. But yeah, so that was Monday. Then Wednesday was interesting because we did a wooden Wednesday. I've not done one of those for a little while. And we looked at the HMS Speedy kit. So we talked about Vanguard models a few weeks ago, and I said, you know, if you're interested in wooden ships, you should check out the website. I know that military modeler Paul certainly bought a kit around about the same time, whether it is because I'd mentioned him or not, but he did tell me that he'd bought one, which turned out to be Speedy, which I then reviewed on Wednesday, which I'd been after for a little while. And it was my first Vanguard kit, having built a handful of wooden kits in the past and having a very small stash of wooden kits. I went into that hoping that I had a nice quality kit. Well, yeah, it's absolutely stunning. And previous to that, I would say the best kit I've got in terms of quality, design, overall look and finish is the Caldercraft Mary Rose, which is beautiful, beautiful kit. I have done a first impressions of that, so you can go back and have a look at that if you wish. On my page, you'll find it there. It's a beautiful, beautiful kit. And I think the Vanguard model of Speedy topped it. So put the video out, lots of people going, wow, what an impressive model. A lot of people really interestingly saying, you're really tempting me to look at a wooden model ship. So, you know, you got your head down in the world of plastic and you perhaps don't see what's going on in the world of wood, or maybe never considered it. But what I would say is, if you're going to dip your toe in, do not get overexcited and get a big fancy kit, because they're difficult if you've never done it before. You've got to cut your teeth on something smaller and understand the processes. So we'll come back to that, because that's about what's coming up. Yeah, the Speedy kit is lovely. Good quality materials, good quality instructions, just lovely. You have to be careful though, when you make a comment on someone's video. You have to be careful what you say, not just because I read them all and I might ban you because you said something bad, but you don't know who else is going to read it. And there was a gentleman who shared his view that, you know, nothing wrong with his view. He was very polite, and he wondered if having an acrylic stand and laser marked out planking on the lower decks, and one or two other the resin cannons being exchanged for the more normal metal cast ones. He wondered if that was all about profiteering, cutting costs and making a profit. And it was, you know, he was sharing his view and he's entitled to his view. Well, the designer of the model, Chris, decided to reply to that. So you never know who's going to read those comments. And he pointed out that you could do your own wooden deck on top of that and treat it as a false deck if you wished. And that's the joy of wooden modelling. You've got so many more options than other forms of modelling. He also pointed out that the cannons were correct shapes, no seams, just a superior product, and that he makes less markup on his models than anybody else. So basically, what he's basically said is he doesn't design to a price point, which is what a lot of manufacturers will do, particularly the part work people. What he's done is he's designed it to be as good as he can make it using good quality materials, and then the price is what the price is, which is why he's got a ship on there at £1,600 plus pounds, which I really, really want. I'm going to start putting money away for that, I think. Yeah, that could be my retirement plan to invest in that. But it was a really good point. So subsequently, I had a little conversation with Chris and through the chat. So you can go back to the Speedy video and have a look at the chat in that box. And it turns out that Chris actually designed the Caldercraft Mary Rose kit that was formerly my favourite and has now been replaced by one of his others. So yeah, really, really interesting. If I find out anything new that's coming along, or what else is being worked on, or anything like that, any other news coming from Vanguard Models, I will certainly pass it on. Obviously, you'll be the first to know if I ever get the funds together to purchase his Vanguard model, which is stunning, absolutely stunning. It's got interiors in the cabin and everything. It is proper stunning. So that was Wednesday. Friday, which is today, but yesterday for you, it's the Ferret, which reminds me, I've not actually loaded that up yet. So that's Ferret Part 3. I think it will be a 4-parter. Now, previously I was saying I thought it'd be a 3-parter, but I think it's going to be a 4. Well, it might just be 5. Everything that's been filmed, and you know, I completed the model a few weeks ago now. Everything that's filmed is in a folder, and I've got more content than I thought I had. And it's a little bit difficult to judge because I have a little editing videoing trick which helps me with editing. So I will start filming, and if there's a cough or the washing machine goes off or the door bell goes or there's a noise or I drop something or whatever, I immediately stop the video. So when I'm editing, I know that the end point of every video is something I need to look at, because I might need to cut stuff out and join it together. So that's how I speed up my editing process. It's a really helpful method of doing that. And I sort of lost my train of thought now. But with the Ferret, I've got a lot of files, but I don't know if that means I've got lots of very small minute-long videos, or some of these are half an hour long, where I'm just sanding. I don't know. So it's difficult when you look at a file of videos to understand how much end video content, once you've edited it, you've got. Because I quite often will dump some stuff into my editing suite, and I've got 3 or 4 hours, and then I edit it all down, and then I've got to import some more to get it up to an hour of content, because I quite often just put the camera on and it's running while I'm doing stuff, and then I can pick the best bits out, which is why the editing takes long. But yeah, that's sort of where we are with Ferret. I don't know if it's going to be 4 or 5. I suspect probably 4. But could be 5, because it might end up being broken down with painting coming next, and then weathering thereafter, or painting and continue painting and then weathering. I'm really not sure. But that's at least one more video in the bag for that. So that's what happened week just gone. Before we talk about the week that's coming, let's talk about what else happened this week that I wasn't expecting. So Thursday, I usually put up an update on my GMC truck, and I didn't, and that took me a bit by surprise. Partly, Thursday morning comes and I'm driving to work. Now, I only go into the office 1 day a week. Thursday, I'm driving into work. I've just dropped my daughter off so she can go to school. And I'm going over the new Runcorn Widnes Bridge, which is a toll bridge, and you get some lovely views of. And I'm driving over towards Speak, which is where I work. So anyone who knows the Northwest, it's on just before you enter into Liverpool. So I'm heading into Speak, and I go, oh, I didn't film an update for the GMC truck, so I didn't have anything. I'm thinking, oh well, never mind, that there wasn't much to report on anyway. Hadn't managed to get much done on it during the week. I'll perhaps put something up on Sunday. That's how my thought process going. So I might still do that, because I'll be working on it Saturday morning, but we'll come back to all that. So I get into work and I bring up my personal emails, because I left the house at 6:10, so I haven't had a chance to do that. Got into work, it's 7:30, and right, okay, I'll just switch my emails on while my computer's warming up and I'm making a brew and all that sort of stuff. And I've got the link from Peter at Oscale Modelling. So we'd agreed in the week that I was going to join his live stream on a Thursday night. And he'd given me the topic, and the topic was, what else is on your desk? I can share that, because he actually brought it up. He had it all up and ready to go. He had my picture up and what have you. So live stream with model kit stuff. What else is on your desk that's not modelling related? So quite an interesting topic, actually. You can talk from everything from what's in your cup of tea to your favourite brand of chocolate and all sorts of stuff. Then I got, so that's all happening. Then I sat down at lunchtime, and at lunchtime when I'm in the office, I actually do a bit of video editing, because their internet speed is a bit faster than mine at work. So I tend to upload videos while I'm there. So I edited a video for a Monday about thinners and what have you. Then I checked my emails again. And I'd had another email from Peter, live stream's cancelled, I'm in hospital. So that was a surprise. He's all right. Not to worry about it. I can't remember if it's gallstones or kidney stones. It's one of those, and he knew he was going to have to go into hospital. And I think he's got his days mixed up. He thought it was next week, and it was this week. So he sort of had rushed himself into hospital due to forgetting what day he's supposed to be in, which was interesting. So yeah, it was planned work, not unplanned work. So now to worry about. So, okay, right, fair enough. That's a change of plan, not a biggie. Now, I'd organised everything around doing this live stream. You don't know what goes on behind the screen of these stuff. One day a week, my partner Paula cooks, just one day a week, and not overly willingly. She doesn't. She hates it. Let's be honest. She absolutely hates cooking, and because she hates it, it's not that she's not good at it, but she just doesn't want to do it. Whereas I'm all right at cooking and I quite enjoy it, so it's sort of my job. So I cook every day except for one. So I'd organised Paula to cook on Thursday, so that I could get all organised for live stream, because this doesn't just happen. You don't wake up like this, you've got to go through makeup and no, I'm joking. But, I did want to make sure I had stuff on my desk from the day before, because I was working on something and I wasn't set up and ready to go. And Oz's live stream, 7 o'clock my time, that meant pretty much I had to get home, get tea, get straight onto the live stream. So, Paula cooks tea, we have tea. Kitchen's a bomb site because we've cooked, we've gone sat down, we were watching Ghosts on the BBC, which we all love, final season, watched the final episode, which was a bit sad because they're not making any more. But if you've not watched Ghosts, by the way, and I'm going off on a tangent, you absolutely should. It's the same people that used to do Horrible Histories, which my kids loved and got them interested in history. Brilliant programme based on the brilliant Horrible History books. But Ghosts is so brilliantly funny. It's such a good programme, and it's sad that it's ended, but all good things come to an end. So we've done all that. Then, because Paula's cooked, it's my night to clean up. Now, we've got a dishwasher, so cleaning up is loading the dishwasher, wiping the surfaces down, washing one or two things that you can't put in the dishwasher. So I thought, right, while I sort the kitchen out, I'll put something on YouTube. So I brought YouTube up. Nigel's on a live stream. Oh, right, okay, well, I'll listen to that while I tidy up the kitchen then. So I know that the previous week Nigel had said, when you're in hospital, I'll cover your live stream. I'll do one so people have got something to watch. And I go back to, Nigel is one of the nicest people in the modelling industry. He really, really is a lovely guy. And so he's got that on. So I just typed in, good evening, and then I started tidying up. The next thing I hear Nigel go, Jason, right, why don't you go live and I'll come over to you and we'll bring everyone over to your live screen and we'll have a chat together. So that was another surprise. And I'm going, so, I'm covered in baked beans and stuff because I've just been picking plates up. So I'm typing with my little fingers. Okay, just doing the dishes, bear with me. So I then had to clean the kitchen up because I can't, as you know, when I go live, the kitchen is my background. And I'm thinking of, I have a table here, which I work from, which I'll be setting up in a minute to do work, and then we'll finish the video later. But I'm thinking of because this detaches, it's just locked underneath. And actually I made the table. So I can whip that round so that I face the other way like this and have that lot behind me. So that's the future plan. Anyway, putting all that to one side, I keep going off on a tangent. Had to quickly clean the kitchen up and shoved some pots around the side. I'll wash them up later. Loaded the dishwasher, got sorted, and then got my sweatsuit on because I'm in my round the house scruffs. live. So we did that. Really, really fascinating. Talking to Nigel. I don't think we've been on a live stream together before. Fairly sure we haven't, because I've been on one or two other people's live streams. But it is what it is. There's so many live streams on these days, and I just can't listen to them all, and I have to have some family time. I can't just spend everything doing my modelling, so don't always get on when I could. I mean, I've been on Mozzers before on a Monday, and I'd love to do it again, but Monday night I'm generally always tied up. It's not often I've got a Monday off, so it is what it is. So anyway, we did the live stream and somebody asked a question. And so for those of you who have not watched the live stream, or perhaps don't like live streams and aren't interested, you want to see the builds and stuff, I will tell you now what Nigel and I ended up announcing. So we talked about this and we weren't sure when we were going to do this. We'd even talked about maybe doing a live stream to sort of launch the project and announce it. But as most of you know, if you're a long-term subscriber, I've been talking for a little while about building the 1-200 Scharnhorst, and we're going to do that as soon as I finish Queen Mary 2, and we'll come back to that later. But in the back, what happened is I've created some trailer videos, and Nigel reached out to me because when I originally bought the kit, he sent me a lovely message saying, "Oi, I've just bought this kit now because I've watched your review and you've made me spend money on it." And so he bought the kit and reviewed it, and then nothing happened for 2 years. Nothing happened. I don't know whether it was the pandemic or what it was, but there was no aftermarket for it, and it had one or two issues that needed sorting. And you really wanted, and so I left it there for the aftermarket boys to catch up to see what would happen. So when that came out, the MK1 set, I decided, told you guys, let's build it. There's hardly any builds of it. What there is straight out of the box because there hasn't been aftermarket. Right, okay, let's get stuck into the Scharnhorst then. So I announced it, put some trailers out. Nigel reached out to me sometime after the first trailers had gone out and said, been looking at the Scharnhorst, and he was asking some questions. And then at the bottom of the email, because we email each other from time to time, he said, would you be interested in a buddy build? That way we could ensure that our mojos don't flag and we complete it, because it's a huge project. And as Nigel will openly say, and he talked about it on Thursday on the live stream, finishing models is not something he's great at, and I know he'd really want to finish it and go, there you go. So I said, yeah, I'll be honest, I put my hand up. Scharnhorst build for me is going to be like the equivalent of the 132 Lank for Nige. It's going to be something that I really love. For me, it's actually one of the prettiest German ships. It's not got the clutter of Bismarck and Tirpitz, but it's got that same design ethos. So it looks a bit like them without having the clutter. And actually, I think it's a very pretty ship. So Nigel said, look, I'll build along with you. We won't necessarily keep at the same pace, and we'll do it together and keep each other going. Brilliant. So Nigel then ran off and started doing his modifications to the hull, and he sent me some pictures as that's been progressing. It's been really interesting to see his process of working through creating those anchors, which I don't think he's had a lot of interest in, but I suspect when we start our builds, he'll get much more interest in it. It'll just raise that profile a little bit. So yeah, that is the plan. We're going to do it as a buddy build. Now we're doing it completely differently. I don't want to say what I believe he's doing, because he might change his mind, and that's for him to announce. But as you know, I'm doing March 43. Operation Paderborn, so I'm doing a very different paint scheme to what Nigel will be doing, and we're using different paint systems. Inevitably, we're going to have different approaches to things. He wants to do the bilge keels and full modifications to the hull, whereas I'm just going to do some of the more simple stuff. We talked last night about scuttles, and I think I might have changed his mind on the scuttles for the hull. So we will have to see. So inevitably there'll be differences in the build, and it'll be interesting to see, as it's been with the GMC truck, how we approach things differently and what have you. So yeah. I don't know whether we'll end up launching at the same time, because Nigel is still waiting for the MK1 set to be delivered. There seems to be an issue with stock, and he's pre-ordered with Hanon, so he needs to wait for that process. But he's got lots of stuff he can get on with the hull, whereas I've not, other than putting a dusting of white primer on the hull ready for marking out alterations. I haven't done anything. I see, and even that is different. Our approaches there are even different. So we will be building them in tandem, is what will end up happening. Yeah, no doubt we'll be cross-referencing. We've talked about doing some joint live streams and sharing, how we go through different problems, how we're getting on, that sort of stuff. So there's all sorts of things that are going to come out of that, and I'm really excited about it, looking forward to it. I know Nigel is. So yeah, that should be good fun. It's a big project, I will work on it every other week. I suspect Nigel will do bits, park it for other projects. So, it could drag out for a couple of years, couldn't it? I mean, how long has it taken me to get Queen Mary 2 done? That must be nearly 2 years old. So yeah, it will be a big project, but it will be a lot of fun. And like I say, we'll do it differently, and it'll be interesting to see where we both end up using the same base kit, same aftermarket. So yeah, that was that big announcement. And that was a surprise, because we talked about announcing it, and it was only because someone asked the question, and I clearly joined the dots, because I think it was, I can't remember if it was June or July update, where Nigel said he might have a big Project Buddy build going on, and that may happen. And I talked about it on my saying, just don't know for sure that it's going to happen. And we sort of did, but we didn't know when to announce it. So there you go. We announced it, and that surprised me as well. So that was another surprise this week. Right. So while we're talking about surprises, yet another surprise is this, because I'd all but forgotten about it. Let me just have some tea. Non-modelling on my model desk. Right. So Mini Art's European tram car has been out in the shops about a fortnight. I pre-ordered this from FOG, November last year, and unfortunately, I can't get out there and be the first to review it. But it's a bit pointless to do that anyway, because they've been so slow at getting it to me, to be honest. So I won't. When I pre-order stuff, I have it in mind that I'm going to be amongst the first to get it on the channel. And the process was so slow. Communication was really poor. I've had to chase and chase. And in fact, when I ordered it, it didn't clearly say this is a pre-order. I didn't know I was pre-ordering it when I ordered it. It was only when I got the order confirmation that it said it was a pre-order. Fairly sure it said in stock. And then later it said not in stock, but didn't say you could pre-order it. And then I noticed other shops had it in, and then had to email them and say, what's going on? When am I getting it? So they reply to your emails, but they don't come to you and say, we're expecting it, and you should hear from us soon. So the communications from FOG, a bit lackluster, unfortunately. You have to chase them down. They do some great products, though. I'm not bad mouthing them in that way. But from a point of view of getting this to me with some expediency, not really. So I will proceed with caution. But some of their diorama stuff I absolutely love and have used. But anyway, I now finally have it. And it was a bit of a surprise because it turned up this morning and I wasn't really expecting it. I wasn't sure when I was getting it. I knew I'd get it in the next few days, but that was a pleasant surprise. So what you get, they call this a big set. Now, it's not the first big set I've got. I've got the Panzer IV diorama with the repair shop. It's the same idea. This is several kits tied together. Let me tell you how many kits. You get the tram kit, which is a standalone. You get the figures kit, which is a standalone. You get the diorama base with tram cables, which is a standalone. And you get the additional fittings, street fittings, which is a standalone set. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 sets in there. I'm not sure if the civilians set, the tram passenger set, and the tram crew are 2 sets or 1. But what we've got is tram crew and passengers, all sort of 40s appearance. It says European tram car, and you've got no less than 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 paint options. So now this is the last piece in my puzzle to something I've been talking about for the nearly 3 years that I've had this channel, because we're 3 years next month. And that is for my 50th birthday, which was 3 years ago in August. I started planning a large street diorama, German street, with the Tamiya Famo tank transporter as the centerpiece, based on a photograph that, if I remember, I will plop into the corner of my screen. So I'm inspired by this photograph. Did I put it in? I'm going to stop and then that'll remind me. There you go, a little bit of editing shenanigans going on there. So yeah, that photograph has inspired me to do a street. So lots of buildings, lots of civilians, early war tank transporter with a captured Polish tank on it. That might change, but I've got a Polish tankette kit. I think it's Mirage, and I believe we've first impressioned it. And the plan is to have that on there as something that's been captured in the Polish campaign, and have sort of that parked up in a civilian street with everyday life going round. So that is part of that setup. We've got a number of cars. So if you go back 2 years ago to the small scale car build, and I did that little red and cream coloured car, that's to go in there. We did a staff car this February, that's to go in there. And I've got some other bits and pieces, commercial vehicles, motorbikes, and what have you, and a fair number of figures and mini art buildings and stuff like that. I've got some bits to make my own streets, so I'm going to pull all that together. And what I envisage is a tram car on a sloped street with another street sort of above it, but behind it, as you see it. So the Famo will be there, the tram will be underneath it, coming up a slope, and then with a side road. That's what I've got in my head. So that's the last piece of that. I'm not sure where I'm going to fit that in, because I don't want to tackle that while I'm doing the Scharnhorst, because basically my builds grind to a halt. So that's probably what we do as the major build after Scharnhorst, and then we'll drop down to smaller ships, because we always have a ship. So that was that. That was a nice surprise. So that leads me nicely on to what happened this week on the modelling bench. Well, I'd like to say I finished the Gotha, but I can't. And I'm really annoyed because the Gotha is finished with the exception of 2 of these. Now, again, if you're in the live stream, you know this, but for those of you that won't, I got halfway through the lamination process of this. So when I say the lamination process, I mean the process of painting the wood laminations on it. So you've got light and dark. We've talked about it before. I've shown you before on here. And you paint the layer, let it dry, varnish it, paint the layer, let it dry, varnish it. And I was about halfway through there, and my process is to mask off the laminations with masking tape. And I use some Humbrol masking tape, this stuff here, draw on the shape. That means I can correct it and I'm not marking the paint. Then carefully cut that out. Then we can do the dark wood layer. So I did all that, looked amazing. I would even go as far as to say it was perhaps the best looking propeller I'd ever done, and I was really pleased as punch. Peeled off the off the masking tape, and it took every layer of paint underneath it off down to the plastic. So I'm not going to recreate the scene here, but let's just say the air was blue. So I've had to strip it all back. I've then had to go in with my Mr. Surfacer, and I've used Mr. Surfacer Grey because I don't have white as my primer. I'd used white one shot. I'd even gone over it with a very mild grit sanding stick just to key the surface, and it still peeled off. Bloody stuff. So yeah, I was really annoyed. So we've started that process again, and that's the only reason why I can't say that go to finished, because it ain't. I've still got 2 of those to do. And as you can see, we've got the sand on, so I need to varnish that. So over the next few days, I'll be doing one process a day to finish that off. By the time the go to video comes out, it'll all be good. So yeah, so with the go to done, I started, all but done, I started the next build, which, as you all know, is this. This was a new tool last year, so it's the 172 Bristol Beaufort Mark 1, and it's depicted here attacking Gneisenauer with its modified torpedoes. And I don't know if that's paint scheme A or paint scheme B. Yeah, that is paint scheme A, so that's the one I'm doing. So I started that. You can see it here. So that's all dry assembled. That the only thing that's built up is the cockpit, and yeah, going together lovely. So we've started that. So you'll be starting to see some videos of that coming out soon. Really nice build, and just a complete different change of pace to the go-to. So really enjoying that. I intend to get some small kits out and get some volume out as we approach the end of the year. And we know that after that we've got the Matchbox Charbie, which will be about painting and weathering and trying to get absolutely wring the most we can out of that old Matchbox kit. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to do after that. I've got all sorts of options because we've got the GMC truck ticking along. So that links now. I'm getting quite professional at this now, aren't I? That links nicely into what is coming up next week and what I'm building on. So Saturday, I usually try and work on Fly, but while I'm doing the GMC truck, I've parked Fly. Come back to that in a minute. So GMC truck Saturday morning, before everyone gets up, that's my time to do that if I don't get a chance in the week, and I have been again busy. I'm saying that a lot, aren't I? Then Sunday, which is my dedicated modelling morning, I am not doing anything else, no matter what anyone says, but modelling until at least lunchtime. That's my rule. Unless the house is burning down, but someone's leg needs to have come off to distract me from a modelling on a Sunday morning. It needs to be, pretty major. If the Prime Minister's not been informed, then I don't need to know until after I finish modelling. That's where I am on a Sunday morning. and everyone in the house knows that, I can assure you. So Sunday morning we'll be back on Queen Mary 2, and it's lots and lots and lots of photo etch, and I'll be trying to get some video content out of there. I've got enough video content for about 2/3 of a video currently. So we've got lifeboats on there and 1 or 2 other bits to finish off, so that are already filmed and ready to go. So I've probably not got a full hour yet, so I'm hoping that I'll get a little bit more material out of Sunday and we'll have a full hour's worth of video so that we've got another update on Queen Mary 2. But that's the focus on Sunday, because I want to get it done. My focus with Queen Mary 2 is get it done. Not rush it, do it properly, but get the damn thing done. Because I want to get onto Scharnhorst at some point this winter. So good to have a goal. So that's sort of where my builds are going. Now, soon as we've finished the GMC truck, I will normally, in my normal mindset, be jumping back onto Fly, getting that second plank in, finished, and then we can start moving on to some more funky stuff, and I can start putting videos out. So I intend, again, from the winter, at some point in the winter, to have Wood Wednesday, at least one Wood Wednesday a month, chucking out some wood building of Fly. But there is a fly in that ointment, which is this new Endeavour kit that we talked about last week. So I filmed the first impressions of that this week. Really impressed with it, got to say. But I'll share that with you in the first impressions, and I'll be asking the question, and a number of you have already expressed your interest. But I'll be asking the question, do I keep Fly paused and build the Amati Endeavour kit with a plastic hull? Because a number of you are interested in whether that's a tow-in to wooden ships, and a number of you have been talking about, after the Speedy review, about maybe got an interest into getting into this, something I've not done before, and that's a good shoe-in if you've not done wooden model ships before. So I think it feels like I've got the right kit, the time is right, I've got enough interest from subscribers, maybe we should do that. And I'm sure 1 or 2 of you are going to put it in the comments that, yeah, you think that's a good idea, but I'm going to wait till the first impressions comes out. Like I say, it's filmed, just needs editing. As soon as that comes out, there'll be a question in there. Would you like to see me build this? That will be giving that more exposure than just this video, and hopefully we'll get enough people say, yeah. So what's my criteria? If 20 people say, yeah, I'd like to see it, then we'll probably do it. If I get a bit less than that, you know, out of nearly 7,000 subscribers, then I think, okay, we'll just carry on for now and fit it into the pipeline somewhere. Because I do want to build it. It's been given to me to be reviewed. There was no particular review it and build it for us, please, but to complete that process, it needs to be built. So if there's enough interest, we will build it, is where I am. And we've got more Amati tool videos coming along soon as well. So that's where I am with the build. So, you know, Queen Mary 2, hop onto Scharnhorst, and in conjunction with Nigel, so that's going to be really nice. You can see Bristol Beaufort's up and running, and the matchboxes over there somewhere waiting to get started. And this is going into the stash now. But what I'll probably do is put it just behind my little wing. So this wing here, you can see that's folded forward to try and block out the pantry. On the other side that you can't see, actually, let's show you my secret cupboard. So this is the wing on the other side, which I call the secret cupboard. I call it the secret cupboard because, you can see Queen Mary 2 at the top there, on the front face of it, it's all sorts of bits and pieces. But as anyone who knows, who saw the video of me building this, I can just bring that forward. And behind it is all my secrets. So this is all stuff that's waiting to be videoed. So we've got the Fokker D1 there. We've got the GMC truck box. It's just an empty box. We've got a couple of other kits there. The Hobby Boss tank. the Tamiya Thunderbolt 2, HMS Repulse. If we go behind that, you can see I've got my build jig there, and that white box there is the Scharnhorst hull. So that's like my secret cupboard. So when I get a delivery, I shove it down there, then it's out of sight, and I know that I need to film it before it goes back up in the stash. So that is where the European tram car will go. So a couple of other things to talk about. I broke my microphone, not this one, but my lapel one. Which is an important one because that's the one that I'll use for Telford next month. And I managed to drop it on the floor, and the connector that goes into my iPad or my phone snapped off, the flash connector. So I ordered a new one. Oh, delivery next day, brilliant, okay. Didn't come, and then so it should have come on Wednesday, and then on Thursday I got an email saying we've refunded you your money due to an undeliverable address. Okay, well, I get lots of deliveries. I don't think my address is undeliverable, nor is it unaccessible. So, yeah, okay, whatever. So I've got to order a new microphone and get it here before we go to Telford. So that was one thing that happened. Now, something I've meant to have mentioned the last 2 weeks and haven't is this. So, Airfix Model World, I'm a subscriber to it. I know magazines are dying out, but at some point they'll turn it into digital, I'm sure. And then, you know, we can store it better. At the moment, I have them all in the attic and the articles listed on a spreadsheet. So if I come to build something, I can find out if I've got it covered in here. But on the front cover, you will see the new Ferret, which is not released yet. It was a pre-order announced in January, but there is a build of it, and it's one of those Marmite planes for me. I'm just trying to find it. You either love it or you hate it. Now, I like Ferry stuff because I used to work for Ferry Engineering, part of what was that Ferry Aviation Group, and they have a full build of it, and it looks awesome. So yeah, so if you have it on pre-order, you might want to find this month's magazine, and there's a full build. Now that means that they are not far off releasing that. So yeah, as soon as that hits my desk, we will first impression it, no doubt. Don't know whether we'll do it live or we'll do it properly. Don't know. But yeah, so if you're in the market for one of those, get this month's magazine. Now, when the Ferret was nearly out, about 8 weeks away, they did a build, and then the following month they did another build of the Ferret as well. So I don't think we'll get another build of that, but there you go. Right then, shall we have a quick look at the garden? Right, well, autumn is definitely here. I took the balance of the rhubarb this weekend. That's it. We won't get any more now. We've still got a good effort being put in by the clematis there. Looks lovely. But we're starting to get the dead leaves coming in. The oak tree is starting to shed, which means we'll see more of the squirrels. But as you can see, the hosta's starting to die back. Yeah, we're starting to see the leaves fall. That, I forget what it is, but that big cacophony of pink flowers is just going over. So we will start cutting back and trimming back very soon. The ferns look fantastic this year. They've had a really good year. Last of my leeks need pulling soon, so we're having stir fries and things for those. They didn't do much, but they've been all right in stir fries. We've still got one tomato putting an effort in there, and in some of these over here, we've even got new flowers coming on some of the tomatoes, which is interesting. They won't have any time for that now. This still looks pretty. That'll get a hard cut back when it stops flowering. Plum puddings just starting to go over, we can see. Now this thing, we planted that as a tiny plant, bought it from, I want to say National Trust property, Dun& Massey, I think. We didn't realise how big it was gonna get, and it's absolutely taken over this area, and we didn't want it to. So we're going to move it actually out of the garden into our car park, because all the glorious Chinese lanterns you can't see. But look how stunning they are. Do you remember us talking about that earlier in the year? Absolutely beautiful. So we're going to spread the seeds for that also in the car park, and that'll put some colour out there. Now this thing here that looks dead, I thought we'd killed it. Well, I say we, Paula, my partner, decided to trim it back without finding out what she needed to do or when, but it has bounced back, so she'll be not touching it this year, and we will sort it out properly. Zebra grass looked nice this year, just going over. Look at the size of that snail. Yeah, this thing, someone threw it away, dumped it in the corner of our car park, fly tipped it, we rescued it. It's looking lovely. We've now got lots of seeds and stuff on this. All the yellow flowers have died back and we've got seeds, so that needs a trim back now. Yeah, and that is just coming to an end. We've got a plant, I don't know if you can see it, growing within it, so I need to get in there and cut that back. So yeah, it's all starting to get ready for the big tidy up, and then we can start replacing all this wood with the PVC stuff that we talked about from Calco or whatever they're called. So yeah, so in about 2 or 3 weeks this will just be a sea of dead leaves, and we'll have a lot of clean up to do. You can see it's already starting to build up. I think what we're going to do is, well, we've got to put a water butt in this corner. Then I'm getting rid of this planter because it's proved to not be very good, because when it rains and stuff it just doesn't get in there. You can't get any water into there, it's constantly dry. So I'm going to put a new herb garden area in, probably going to move these up, this planter up to here. We might even have it come out in this direction. That's Esme's sandpit, we'll be moving that and all. But possibly have it come out in this direction, and then I've got space there for herbs or something like that. Have a bit of a rethink. I'd like to bring that out a little bit more because it's not so visible there, and it's lovely when it flowers, magnolia. Anyway, that's our garden starting to get ready for sleep, starting to go over, but we've still got some life in it yet. So I'm told the plan is that I will be in the back garden at some point this weekend tidying up. I think Saturday is wet and then Sunday is dry, so it'll be Sunday afternoon obviously. So one of the things that we mentioned on the live stream on Thursday was the fact that this hobby has lots of really lovely people in it. People who share, people who quite happy to give you stuff, people that are quite happy to help you out with things. It's a lovely, lovely community. And as this channel has grown, and we're nearly at 7,000 subscribers and nearly 3 years into doing this now, the one thing that's happened that I really enjoy is the community that comes out of that. I have regular people that comment on many of my videos or all of my videos. I have people that I see every Friday when we do a build video and come and join the chat, and it's always lovely to catch up with you and talk to people. And I get an opportunity through the comments from Table Talk to talk to you through here as well. And it's really, really nice. And I appreciate all of you. Now, as you know, the channel is self-funded. So I appreciate all the support I get. So liking the channel, putting comments on, all of that supports. I do have merchandise for those of you that want a sticker or something like that. That can be done. There's a really good quality apron in there, and a tin cup as well. The other way that people can support is with super thanks and super chat when it's live. And like I say, there are some lovely people in the world, and this week I have some people to shout out who I'm very grateful donated some money to the channel. So they've done that through super thanks, and what I'm doing with it is all the money that's being donated at the moment is going to go into a pot. And that's going to be my spend pot for something at Telford. So I will find something unusual or something I think everyone's going to want to see that. So what that is going to be partly dictated by the size of my pot, so however much I've got collected. So last week I have a real big thank you to the following people for donating to the channel. You're all superheroes. So Dave Evans, World War II models, massive thank you. Plastic Monkey, a regular contributor, thank you very much. And if you've not caught up with Plastic Monkey for a little while, go and check out his channel, because if you blink, you'll miss the next build. And sometimes in his build video, we'll talk about other builds as well. So he keeps you on your toes. You've got to watch all the way through. UK Dave 1957, a massive thank you for your donation. Thank you very much. Now, I'm hoping I'm going to pronounce this right. I'm not very good with pronunciations. James Carnahan, a really big thank you to you, sir. Massive contribution. Thank you very, very much. You now know where that's going. It's going into something, I don't know what, from Telford. And a massive thank you to Wendy Hickson. So when Wendy's become a regular on a Friday night in the live chat, which is nice to see. I know she's building or she was at least building the Ferret, which will have gone up last night, and no doubt we were talking about it. So like I say, some really lovely people in our hobby. So I think that is probably it for this week. I think I've covered everything. So yeah, there is so much more coming up, and next week I'll probably be able to tell you when the oh, I've not done that. I've not told you what's coming up next week, have I? We'll come to that in a sec. So in next week's Table Talk, I'll probably be able to tell you when that first impressions will be out of the Amati boat. But I better tell you what's happening next week before I forget, hadn't I? I'm all over the place today. Right, so Monday, what have we got coming up? So next week on Monday, we've got some resin figures being reviewed, CSM resin figures. On Wednesday, we've got, trying to remember, oh yeah, we've got a Tamiya kit, a Tamiya 135 kit. On Wednesday, an oldie but a goodie. And then on Friday we will have Go to 14, so that's already loaded up. There might be, it depends on where Peter is, so I don't know whether I'm going to be on a live stream with Peter on Thursday or not, and there might be a GMC update somewhere in there as well. So keep your eyes peeled, and to make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you've clicked the little notifications bell after you've hit the subscribe button. Right, thank you very much for joining me. We've covered off a lot again, as we always seem to do. It's been a really nice week this week. So thank you very much, everyone, for all the contributions, the comments. Keep them coming. I will see you next week. Until then, you enjoy your modelling. Bye for now.